Thanks for staying on. Joburg residents have been advised to remain vigilant this afternoon. This after warnings have come from the South African Weather Service predicting large amounts of hail and heavy downpours that can result in localized flooding, shall I say, in some areas. Let's turn now to the EMS spokesperson, Robert Mulaudzi, who's joining us. Good to have you, and thank you very much for coming on this afternoon. Which areas, which roads in particular become largely susceptible to being high risk when it comes to these flooding?
Good afternoon, Brother Thabo and the viewers. Yes, we did receive a warning from South African Weather Service about the level 2 of severe thunderstorms, which will affect most parts of the city of Johannesburg. As you will know that most of our low-lying areas, which will be most of our informal settlements, are mostly vulnerable when we have severe thunderstorms. And also, we have had previously in areas like Lenasia, Rodibon, and the other areas where when we had a hailstorm, most of the areas were affected by those severe thunderstorms which we had previously. So we encouraging our motorists out there to exercise caution as and when driving, to keep the safe following distance, and also try and avoid crossing areas which might be flooded. And also our residents in our low-lying areas, those will be mostly informal settlements which are, residing mostly along our river streams like Jackskey, Kalfontein, and also Klip Valley. Those communities in those areas, the water levels are already much more higher now. So we urging them to avoid crossing river streams, and also to monitor young kids now that is school holidays. The young ones are at home, so we encouraging them to make sure that they stay away from those areas so that we can be able to prevent, drowning incidents which might occur. Because, Brother Thabo, we need to conscientize our residents that we are told that we will receive a lot of rainfall throughout this holiday season. So we should be all the time be aware about the dangers of us, as and when we receive this kind of rainfall. Hence, as and when we get these opportunities to inform our residents about the dangers, and also what is it that they can do as and when we have these severe thunderstorms.
Yeah. As emergency management services, what do you do in a time like this where you get such an alert? Where are your members at this particular point? Do they stand at prime areas? Are they standing by visibly so to be able to intervene should an emergency happen?
Yes, we've got our fire stations which are spread in all 7 regions of the city. Most of these fire stations have got personnel who can be able to respond to all the emergencies, including water-related emergencies. So over and above that, Brother Thabo, we've got our disaster management officials who are mostly placed in regions, in all regions. So most of them will be monitoring those areas which are deemed to be much more vulnerable than others, to make sure that as and when there's emergencies, they are able to coordinate. But before these emergencies, Brother Thabo, we have gotten initiatives which we continue to intensify, community outreach programs which we continue to intensify as and when we have seasonal programs. As and when we have rainfalls like this, we've got our public education officials which are mostly based in regions, who are now and then conducting educational programs, disaster awareness, preparedness programs in these areas, to make sure that practically our residents have got the necessary skills to evacuate as and when there's a need for them to evacuate. How do they evacuate? By using, alerting other members, by using other things like whistles and other things. So the programs are specifically designed for our residents to be able to deal with emergencies which are occurring at the time. If, for instance, it's fire emergencies or water-related emergencies, they are able to evacuate as and when required. So that is where we are. Of course, also our disaster management center, we normally activate it as and when we anticipate weather like the ones which we are told that we might have, later on today. So We've got enough boots on the ground. We've got all the officials who are on the ground. And, of course, our specialized units, which is our swift water rescue unit, which is normally reactive as then when they respond to emergencies of drowning or water-related emergencies where people have been washed away. So those specialized teams are there to be able to respond to those emergencies if we do have emergencies where we have to respond. But we're hoping that with a platform like this where we are interacting with our residents before we have come across that situation, we're hoping that we are not going to have, major incidents which we will have to respond to, because our residents and our motorists out there, they will be aware as to what is it that they can do in order to be able to prevent, injuries or any other further damages which might occur throughout this, not only today, but throughout this December festive season's holiday season. Yeah,
I'm glad you go there, because that's precisely the question that I wanted to ask you, because I think you and I, at least in the last week or two, on two occasions, have been communicating around the situation of a drowning. First one could have involved children. The second one was involving, I think, adults who would have been carrying out some religious rituals. And I know you are the first responders, so mostly reactive. But it's a broader conversation around whether there is a preventative arm of what you do. I mean, I know you're not enforcers. Is that something a little bit on the law side? But a preventative measure, especially around those areas where these rituals get carried out and where children are possibly playing.
Yes, right now, Brother Thabo, you are raising a very important point. Now, we've taken it upon ourselves through our public education wing to show our residents the dangers of practicing, as and when they're practicing this cleansing and baptism rituals, to say we don't have a problem with them conducting the rituals, but they need to exercise, make sure that all the safety precautions are taken care of. So hence we are going out there to where they are, to physically show them what is it that they can do to ensure the safety. We engaging with our traditional healers, our prophets or bishops, whoever, all the people, the stakeholders who are conducting this kind of rituals, to say these are some of the safety measures which you can take to make sure that we prevent this. Of course, in future, we should have some kind of a bylaws, stringent bylaws, which will also bring some consequences or stringent measures to prevent the continuation of this kind of, incidents, because we cannot really all the time rely on the education. One way or the other, we should have some stringent bylaws which will prevent people to conduct, these rituals everywhere, where even though they don't ensure that the safety of the congregants is taken care of. So from our side, we are doing our best. We have already visited a number of areas, like that area where we lost about 15 people last year around this time. We have already visited Lombardy East and the other river streams, like in Four Ways. We've been in around the Klip Refinery and Klip Valley river stream. So we're happy that, Brother Thabo, the residents or the people who are, practicing, conducting these rituals, they've given us an ear to make sure that they take some of these precautionary measures which we are saying they must take to prevent incidents where people are washed away, because we cannot always be coming here on air reporting that so many people have lost their lives. Some are one way or the other. These kind of incidents, we have to prevent them. We have to find a way of preventing them. And how do we do that? We make sure that people are informed about the dangers and also the safety measures which they can take as and when they're conducting these rituals.
Robert Mulaudzi, as always, much appreciated. Thanks so much for coming on, speaking on behalf of the City of Johannesburg Emergency Services.